All right, everyone, welcome back to part two. Corey put together some information here that we're going to discuss some projections, all kinds of stuff. So, Corey, hand it over to you.
Yeah, wicked. So thought it'd be fun to kind of see who's playing who come to the end of the season here, especially with kind of playoffs on the line. We have an example of how each team is done in these four matchups because it's all re second time matchups, right? So taking into consideration how people did the first time through, I had kind of projected how many points and what the playoffs would look like there. But right now, I think it would be kind of fun to go through and see kind of team by team who they're playing and then kind of discuss the strength or diff easiness of the schedule here. So um, you got Daltrey this week against Dan, next week against O'Brien, Kyle Bergeron, then Braden. So all playoff teams, except for Bergeron, who's kind of just started selling. Daltrey went 4-0 during this stretch. I mean, he went pretty undefeated for most of the season there, right? So it's no surprise. Um, but still, it should be some good matchups here, kind of giving a good idea of how his team's shaping up going into the playoffs. You then you can see that just kind of a shift in who people play here because Dan also plays Kyle Bergeron, Braden, and then yourself to end the season out. He did beat you and Braden first time through, but lost against Kyle Bergeron and Daltrey. He should be able to beat Bergeron, but then he'll still have three competitive matchups between Braden, Daltrey, and you. He did go 2-2 over the stretch earlier in the year. So if you feel like you want to kind of chime in at any point, feel free, buddy. But
I'm
we
good.
got Braden, I think, has the hardest schedule of everyone. He takes on Derek, Travis, Dan, and then Daltrey. Um, by far, they're all playoff picture teams near the top as well. Obviously, two of them in the middle there with the four-way tie for fifth to eighth, but that'll be a good test for him as well. You got Neil taking on Nick Saucier. Then he has Casey, Sean, and Mark. So two people he's going to be chasing in the standings. And Sean and Mark here then should be, sorry, not chasing, I guess, that
Trying to
are
stay
right
ahead.
behind, try to stay ahead of, which will be good for him. Those could be some interesting matchups come down the stretch. Um, Able to put the dagger kind of in Nick Saucier's season if he's able to pull out a win here. Going over to Derek is Braden, yourself, Nick Saucier, and Casey. So a nice easy final week here, but he does have the you and Nick big matchups here, and then Braden as well. Because they're nipping at Braden's heels, right? So putting a loss there would be big for him. Getting a loss into Braden. But then yeah, Bray, some huge matchups with you and Nick as well, going 1-3 over this stretch, the first time through. Got O'Brien here, going to be taking on me, Bergeron, Daltrey, and Mark. So you got two people who have sold off, top of the league, and then a guy kind of chasing at your heels. They went 3-1 over this stretch. Could see that happening again, only losing to Daltrey. Sean, who has the easiest schedule of everyone, this in my opinion, taking on me, Plums, and Domo. So that's going to be it should be three wins for his team. And then he did tie Neil earlier in the year. That will be a tough matchup, but he did go 3-0-1 in this stretch last time through. Travis playing Bergeron, who just sold off, which makes it a little bit easier for him, or started selling off. I apologize. And very injury riddled. Then you have Braden, Shane, yourself, and then Nick Saucier. So three matchups that are going to have some very big playoff implications coming down the stretch. Um, you got Mark here. He's taking on Nick O'Brien, myself, Plums, and Neil. So two guys at the top, two guys near the bottom. So this matchup this week is pretty big for him. But Neil final week will be huge. So I think it's important for him to make sure he gets these two wins or in the middle. Uh, Nick Saucier is pretty much winner, win everything out. Has Neil, Domo, Derek, and Travis. So this is the hardest of them all in theory. With Derek right behind it, Travis as well in points. But Domo should be a good match, an easy matchup for him. Going 2-2 over the stretch. Yourself, you have Domo, Derek, Travis, and Dan. So you have three teams in the playoffs right now, and then Domo. So pretty much winner, win out right now for you, anyways. But that's going to be a big matchup with Dan final week. Bergeron, who's tied with you in points, but not really looking at the playoff picture the same way because he's selling off Travis, Dan, Daltrey, and Nick O'Brien. So it's quite a difficult schedule going into the last 4 weeks into the playoffs. Myself, I have Plums, Nick O'Brien, Mark, and Sean. Went 1-3 over this stretch, only taking down Mark last time. So it'll be a good matchup at the end with Plums for Caucasaurus implications. You have Domo taking on you, Nick, Casey, and Sean. So all teams not in the playoffs right now, minus Sean, who's just above. Uh, but he's officially mathematically eliminated. Only 1-3 over the stretch. Then Plums here is going in the Caucasaurus race. Is Casey and Plums face each other week one, which is a good one. Then you have Sean, Mark, and myself against Plums, and then
Big
Casey has
opportunity for him to play spoiler
for who?
for Plums.
Oh yeah, with Sean and Mark here.
Yeah.
And then you got Casey taking on Neil, Domo, and Derek. So um, I'd say Domo and Plums, that's pretty interesting as he's 2 points behind. Those are pretty much must wins as I don't think
Try and
we're
get away
expecting
from the clock.
a Neil or a Derek a victory there. So I think these are the must win weeks. So but if we, obviously things have changed since then, but if we just kind of take into consideration points that they got last time, if the outcomes are the same again, we'd be seeing a much different outcome here than we'd probably expect, showing Derek at 20 points, making the playoffs, with Mark, Nick, you, and Bergeron all on the outside, just barely. Um, but we know that's not going to be the case as teams are much different 15 weeks later, right? So something else I thought would be interesting to look at is the strength of the schedule. So who has the hardest schedule coming into the final 4 weeks? So just versus how many points their opponents have accumulated in their totals in the standings, essentially. So you can see Braden and Kyle Bergeron taking on Dan and Daltrey. So they're quite high up there in the difficulty of the standings. But then you see Plums, Domo, and Casey right at the bottom, all kind of taking on each other, which is nice to see because then you have a lot of the middle of the pack taking on each other. So this is where the outside of myself here, you have all the people in the standings that are fighting for that final, I guess, 4 playoff spots at this point still. So this is what I was talking about earlier with Sean having a fairly easy schedule compared to the rest. Only the one matchup will be tough. Yeah, it's against Neil. So then if I think it would be interesting to also just kind of see mathematically where people are at. So we have officially three teams who can't make the playoffs anymore, and Daltrey is the only one who is officially clinched. Uh, and the most amount of points right now that Mark could get is 24, so 25 would officially lock you in the playoffs. Um, And one thing I think was pretty interesting is that from the fifth to eighth standings, none of these teams play each other through the final stretch here. Um, but they do have some matchups against the teams chasing them, and then none of the teams chasing them play each other. So officially, like these guys could all lose out, and these guys could all win out separately. Um,
A
and,
lot of room for
and
movement, essentially.
yeah, there's a lot of room for movement. So. Um, I think that's going to be fascinating, or it's going to make a fascinating ending to the season as per normal. But another thing I thought was interesting would be to look at historically, whereas our what has been required to make the playoffs. So points required for the eighth seed to move on. Um, so in the first season, it was 11-8-2 record, 21 games was required to make the eighth place. Second season, 10-8-2 record, 2 games above 500. Season three and 9-8-3 record, uh, so 1 game above 500. Then season four, 10-9-1. Eighth. Season five, 10-9-2. Season six, 6-5-2. So a very
That
shortened
was COVID
season.
year.
Yeah, that was a cluster F of a year. Um, but then season seven, 13-10. So you need 3 games above 500. Um, maybe they were able to lose, but essentially and still be able to make it in. But that's essentially the 8 seed that got it. Um, season eight, 12-9, 3 games above 500. So two of the stronger seasons here, record wise, for the 8 seeds. Season nine, 11-11, and we actually had a two-way tie for eight. So some team got 11-11 and didn't make the playoffs as well. And then season 10, 10-9-1. So with that being said, we have this average of a win rate of 54%, which would be about 22 points as the estimate, um, if we have a 20 game schedule. So then if we kind of go back at 22 points here, we'll zoom out a little bit here. So it would mean that essentially you and Bergeron have zero room for error, um, to be able to kind of hit that what I expect the quota to be based on every other season, right? Um, and these teams essentially would have to go 2-2 down the stretch to kind of stay 2 games above 500, and they should be safe for the playoff picture. But but obviously, there's a lot that can change when you have. I mean, Neil's right here, only 1 point above as well. It's not
I,
like there's
I
a
would like to point out though, some of those teams with 18 points, if they go 2-2, that puts them at 22, but they don't have the tiebreaker necessarily because of all the ties that have happened this
yeah,
season.
yeah. You're right. I can start pulling in the ties here to see. Yeah, you're
Like so,
spot
like
on.
Travis, if I tie Travis, I have more wins than Travis theoretically by getting to those points
Yep,
because I have zero ties.
yep.
So just an example, right? So the point total tells the story, but not the whole story because the record will come into factor as well.
Yeah, not too often does it, but it can.
This season, it probably will with all the ties we've had. We got some teams with 5 ties out there.
Yeah. No, but I mean that it makes it like the 8 to 9 seed. It comes down to that if you
Yeah,
make it or not. Uh, only the one tie that I saw when I was going back through so far that it's been like that. So, but you never know, right?
yeah.
We've
This
seen
just season
we've
feels
seen
like
like
it could be used because of how tight the standing is.
yeah, yes, and I thought that would be interesting to kind of go through. Um, get back on track here though. We'll go through some trades. There's a lot of trades after last week's episode having almost none.
What happens when someone announces they're selling, right?
Yeah,
Teams go crazy. So we won't waste too much time on some of these trades, right?
yeah.
Uh,
There's some ad drops, but
yeah. So where are we starting here? Sorelli in an eighth, going to Daltrey for Tavares and an 11th. What do you think of this one?
I'm really surprised that he's willing to move Tavares for such a little upgrade. Sorelli was just a free agent ad who's doing decent. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's really just looking for the pickup grade. I really thought he would be trying to get more for that. Tavares maybe going a little slow lately, but he's still almost a point per game player who does put up a lot of depth stats as well. So I feel like this is where he's over tinkering now.
I I don't care for the deal itself either way. I think the writing's on the wall for Toronto. Toronto's kind of in a big slump. it's also Tavares is a C only. If you get an upgrade for him, you could pick up a winger on the waiver wire, someone with multiple positions, right? It might be for lineup flexibility. I think an eighth is probably the right price for Tavares. I'm just surprised that Daltrey might move a guy like Tavares for a pick upgrade in this scenario.
Yeah, like a guy who's capable of putting up some big numbers. Like
Yeah.
they're slumping now, it doesn't mean they're going to slump all season, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Um, yeah.
I think don't think this was an ad drop.
No, I think it was just
Uh,
a trade. Um,
one round upgrade, Byram for Dunn.
yeah, because Travis's picks are wild, so to get any players, like you're looking at one round pretty much.
Yeah,
Um, uh, Plum's trading one of his keepers and done over to TBT. Byram going the other way. What do you think of this one?
it's a nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was a nothing.
Yeah,
Kachuk, Captain Kachuk here and Team Ramrod making a deal. Chris Kreider, an 11th and a 15th going to Domo. Sherratt and two 17s going my way. I'll tell you, I was interested in Sherratt for a while. He was offering, making me deals, offering for a ninth. I didn't want to pay a ninth, so I sent countered with an 11th and a 15th for two 17s. I feel the later picks was a better move for me at least, and he accepted.
yeah. I think Schrott's a decent player. Um, finally ripped off the band-aid of Kreider, who's had a very disappointing fantasy season over there in Anaheim. So to pay 11th is not a bad price. Nice to see Domo getting some values from somebody.
I was happy with that for Sherratt. He puts up a lot of grind, and my defense is pretty grindy now, so for the home stretch. What we got here? JVR, Kane, and a 12th going to you. For Lundell, Verhage, and a 14th going to TVT. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, I think it's just man game appeals for Travis here. Um, and
He had
then
a
getting a
late
couple,
week heavy schedule.
yeah, so getting a couple Florida guys for him for his push, I think was the motivation there. So I just keep rinse and repeat with filtering guys through my lineup. So
12 for 14th. It's worth it to get those man games because they had a back-to-back on the weekend. So he just made
yeah,
full man games up there, right?
for
Uh,
Hayes, not a bad player either to sit on for only a 12.
he finally moved Lozo after cold offering everyone in the league for weeks. Lozo and an 18th for Ekholm and a 12th. Going to House of Krill. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I think it's a good play for Neil. And at a fair price. If it's the guy you think that your team needs, or he's very hit and pim heavy, with a sprinkle of offense once in a while. But for a 12th, that's not a bad price.
He kept trying to give me this deal pretty much for 13th, and I kept refusing. I'll tell you why I kept refusing. Because there's guys who does what Lozone do on the waiver wire I can get for free. But if Lozone's your guy, good for you, Neil. Good for you, Travis, to finally get someone to bite on that. I know you were cold offering for a while on that because it's been a couple weeks since you had sent me a few offers over that span. Orlov at an 11th going to you in exchange for Kraus at a 12th with Sean. Sean making a rare trade. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, a cold offer for a one round upgrade for Kraus. I said pretty much one round for anyone, right? So I couldn't say no to this.
Yeah, to me, it's a nothing deal. They both, well, I don't know why Orlov is even on anyone's roster right now, but uh,
It's
Kraus,
because I don't have enough ad drops.
well, I know why he's on your roster. I don't know why he's on Sean's, but Kraus is a solid player. So for one round, not a big deal. Hamilton and a 17th going to TBT. In exchange for Ekholm and a 14th that went to Domo. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, Domo selling off a little bit more here, getting what he can for Hamilton, who's recently sat out. Don't think it's a bad trade for him.
No, it actually worked out for him because Ekholm got a hat trick the other night against me. Uh, and a GWG included in there. So paying dividends. Um, Hamilton is hit or miss. He got a couple points the other night on the power play.
Ooh.
He could be a good addition. He's just so inconsistent this year that I guess we'll have to see if it helps him in the long run. Ovechkin going to Patches in exchange for Hofer going to Team Rocket. Straight up, no picks. What do you think of this?
I like this trade for both of them. They both are taking some of them they don't need to fill a need, right? Kyle going for Hofer as a keeper goalie, probably assuming he's going to take the St. Louis crease from Bennington.
I think it's a good
Um,
assumption.
yep, and then getting rid of Ovi,
Who he
who has
wasn't
some
keeping.
player value for Patches, which is good as we've been saying for a couple of weeks here that Patches needs to move on from a couple of goalies. So to be able to flip one into Ovi, I think that's a solid deal.
Yeah. Kyle wasn't keeping Ovi.
Nope.
It's good. Like it didn't cost at either of them any picks. It was a straight up deal. I like it. I like it for both teams. For pretty much the reasons you stated. So you were involved here, getting Meyer and a 14th in exchange for Falk and a 12th with House of Krill. Meyer always
Yeah,
seems to come to your team.
yeah, and a guy who earlier in the year was moved for a sixth. Neil was kind of complaining to me about him kind of suggesting he would even drop him. So I sent him a kind of a cold offer, and he took it. So I was happy with that. I got a guy who has some player value, or for me, and I didn't have to pay much. So it was kind of more use it for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the deal because Meyer, he might not help a team that's contending, but he'll help you keep pace and possibly play spoiler for some teams. So
Yeah. Well,
gives
I already
you,
moved him, so
but you need to dress a lineup still,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
Ekman Larson at an eighth going to Team Rocket for Skinner and a 14th. Why don't you tell me what you think of this one?
I probably wouldn't have done that trade myself. Um, the unknown of Skinner in that situation. I know that you're motivated by the small sample size that he's had of doing really well. And I don't disagree. He's done phenomenal. And if he keeps that pace, this is a tremendous deal for you. Um, I don't know if he will, and that's kind of what you're banking on, right? So Kyle did good in getting an eight for him with kind of that unknown. And it's not a huge gamble for you, but he's done well.
I was running two goalies. I needed more depth. Skinner was the best I was getting for an eighth. And you know what? He's been phenomenal in Pittsburgh over the like 15 games he's been there. Um, to the point where who knows? I might end up keeping him over Bobrovsky, just given the age and take the risk next year. But I thought it was worthwhile for an eighth. I do know some teams were upset that it only cost an eighth, but I won't mention any names. But that's what happens when you ask about a player and don't just put it out there that I have picks. Come see me.
Yep.
Seth Jones and a ninth going to you in exchange for Carlson and a tenth with Mark. What happened here? Tell me about this one.
Just another one round upgrade.
Yeah,
Not much to really say here.
not bad. He's on the IR, so Mark needed a body.
Uh, yeah,
Uh,
I think that's his motivation.
yeah,
But
keep it going, right?
yep.
One round, who not a big deal. Aiden Hill and a 14th going to Svetch in exchange for McMichael and a ninth going to you. I will say I think this is a good deal for you, as I don't know where Hill's value is right now, and to get a ninth, I know you were hoping to get an eighth when we talked, but a ninth is good with that gap. I don't know what Vegas's goalie situation looks like going forward. So
Yeah, I kind of don't disagree. That unknown definitely forces him out of the keeper contention for me, right? So um he finally came back to from IR. So to be able to move him and really Dan's the only one who showed interest. So um I think it's a pretty fair offer for him, only paying a nine, similar to you as a third goalie, right? It's not a bad price. Um,
No.
it's just will he get the starts over Hart and Schmid, who's actually done fairly well in their
And what will they
absences.
look like, the starts?
Yeah, and will he even be healthy, right? So
Yeah.
there is definitely some unknowns there.
No, I think you did good. I think it's a manageable risk for Dan. He stockpiled all those picks, so this was an ad drop. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
Timo Meyer and a ninth going to Patches in exchange for Fowler and a 14th. I know you were pretty excited about this one. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know Patches was hoping to get some player value for his goalies like he did for Hoffer. So to be able to send Meyer his way, I think is a little bit more appealing. Um, and a decent pickup grade, ninth for 14th for a guy who has some pretty high potential in Fowler. So he's a keeper possibility for me coming into next season, depending on how that Montreal crease looks in the offseason, right? And only having to pay a ninth, I don't think that's too bad. And then I have a 14th to work with to try to make some upgrades with, so which is a little bit more appealing for some teams too.
Yeah, yeah, agree. I think it's a good move for you, considering where your team's going right now. Um, Meyer's still very useful. Patches seems to have a thing for him, so good for him. Yeah, uh,
Yeah,
not a
we
bad
have
deal.
an ad drop. All right, this one's
Oh yeah, Markstrom and Allen and a 16th going to TVT for Ingram, O'Reilly, and a seventh going to Team Rocket. My understanding was he didn't want to pay that price, Travis, but there were other deals out there, other people, so he had to pay the seventh to get the duo. Now, I'm pretty sure he probably could have got one of them for cheaper, but to get both, I mean, he did drop one. A seventh
yeah.
for the New Jersey duo. Maybe not the duo you want, in my opinion, with the way their season's going. But you wanted stability in nets. You were complaining about your goalie situation. You had to make a move. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Kyle did well in this one. When you have two goalies splitting starts, both fairly old, on a team that's not doing well, I don't see that as a very appealing uh thing to try to sell, right? So to get a seventh for that, I think phenomenal. Playing making a hard bargain here with Travis. Now, Travis's side, I know we got rid of Allen, but I think it was nice for him to kind of ensure that he was getting all the New Jersey starts. I think that was more the angle, but now getting rid of Allen, just through waiver wire, you're essentially getting rid of half of that.
Yeah,
Um, and the risk of a guy who's like 36, he's fairly old, Markstrom. And so is Allen, don't get me wrong, but um, I think that you could have done better. I came knocking at his door trying to get him to give me an eighth for Hill. Just no interest, but I'm like, it's a better team. You're probably going to get wins. Like if you're, I think he regretted this one. I think this is an emotional purchase from him.
he told me that he's like I sent a counter to Berge. He's like if he accepts it, I can already feel the regret. It wasn't even accepted yet, and he was already regretted. So good
Jesus.
on you, Berge. Now we got some more ad drops here.
Yeah, they're nothings. Was this an ad drop for you guys?
Yeah.
Two rounder. There you go. Paying up.
It's
Uh,
all I had pick wise, but the
yeah.
agreement was also if I wanted to make another ad drop because he had one left, that it would have covered it.
And you could have.
He was
Uh,
asleep,
oh,
so he did not get my message, but it would not have
oh,
made a difference. So we're at the 10
um,
minute mark already, by the way.
yeah, I saw that. So then we have another ad drop here for two rounds is me and Travis because that's all we had. That could work. Another ad drop. Yeah, and then this one's not an ad drop.
Nope. That was more Casey trying to stock up for potential future keeper in Hart in exchange for Ned, who we all know is hit or miss every season. So I like the deal for both. Nick gets some stability right now. Well, Hart, who knows how long he's going to be out, but he could be valuable to a team like Casey next season.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like I really like this for Casey. I'm surprised Nick did it. I thought he would want more for Hurt, to be honest. Um, but I understand that beggars can't be choosers, right? The very weird crease, you don't know what's going to even happen because they haven't been both healthy at the same time yet. So,
And Ned's been playing better than Askarov right now, so.
oh, yep, very much so. So, all right, we'll take a quick look at picks here. Um, so updated the standings. We got Daltrey with a seventh and two eighths left at the bottom, and an 11th. Dan still stocked up with a sixth, three sevenths, and an eight, two tenths. He's done pretty well with some ad selling some ad drops through the season. Braden still with a sixth, and then skips to a ninth. Neil's only pick at first 11 rounds is the 10th. He has one. Derek with an eighth and a ninth. Um, Nick O'Brien with a six, eight, nine. So I think you're going to see some purchasing here. Um, Sean still with six, seven, eight, nine, and two nine. So pretty pick heavy. And then Travis as well. Uh, three, six, three, seven, and four, eight. So there could be some purchasing there. Mark with two, six, a seven, and an eight. So he still has some room as we come down to the deadline. And then you got Nick and yourself who's quite slim pickings. You have some late picks finally. It's been a while. And then Bergeron slowly recovering some picks. Now his latest pick is a 14th, so he'll slowly inkling that closer and down, I'm assuming. Myself, two sixths and a seventh, five ninths. Then I don't pick past the 12th right now. Daltrey Sr. still doesn't have a sixth to eighth. Um, hopefully by by the next episode, he does have something as the trade deadline will be kind of past, I think, or close
But we'll
to
have
at
one more
least.
episode before the
Yeah,
deadline.
with still some really late picks for him to try to recover from. Plum still with a couple 18ths. Might as well just hold on to them, I guess. But some good low picks for him. He's in a good situation. And same with Casey. Two sixths, two sevenths, three tenths, 11th, four 12th. So a lot of early picks here if you want to deal with these guys. So right now we know the first overall pick. Plums has a two chances at it. Casey with one, Mark with one, Bergeron with one. That's assuming that Bergeron is not going to make it. So kind of keeping the odds of who's going to have the chance of that first overall pick. So 28 days away. We have a little while to go, but
All right, let's get to our predictions here because we're at 6 minutes.
oh, we can do this. We can do this.
We won't dilly-dally on this here. I'll let you all
Yeah.
know that my predictions are based on who I want to win based on my current situation. So I don't give a fuck about prediction. They've been bad all year anyway. So let's get into this. Sauce Pass, 6-10 and 0 and 13th, taking on the Polar Bears, 7-5 and 4 in 7th. Who do you have?
I'm going to keep the winning streak going, three in a row. I'm going to make it four here against the ice cold polar bears.
They're coming off a win off of against Mark Ice Cold. But I'm gonna also go with you because it benefits me for Sean to lose. It always does, but even more so this week. Team Ramrod, 7 and 9 and 11th, taking on Domo, 4, 11 and 1 and 14th. Who do you got here?
I think this one will be you. If you're going to lose, I don't think this is going to be where the upset lies for your season life.
I'm gonna agree. I was gonna pick me anyway. Everyone knows that. I'm not gonna fuck around too much because of time constraints, but we all know I would have picked me. Jager Bombs, 10-5 and 1 in third, taking on the Shifley Tower, 9-7 and 0 in fifth. Who do you have?
I think Braden's going to keep his run going here, and just kind of slightly biased as I have Derek's first.
I am also cheering for Braden this week as it benefits me with matchups coming up against Derek next week that I want to close that gap to 2 points going into my matchup with him. So good luck, Braden. Don't try the beef. 12-2 and 2 in first, taking on Svechmia Drink, 11-4 and 1 in second. Who do you have?
Oh, I think Dan's gonna take him. Daltrey's been slipping and showing some that he's human. Um, he's starting to tinker, and that's when you can get into trouble. Um, yeah,
I was also picking Dan, mostly because Daltrey's recent struggles. So I think we're on the same page there. Forgot about Dre, 6, 7, and 3 in 10th, taking on the House of Kirill, 9, 6, and 1 in 4th. Both teams with a shutout last night. Or maybe it was Monday. They both got a shutout in
yeah.
the same night. Who do you have?
I think Neil's gonna take this one and kind of push Nick into sell mode. Nick's stats have kind of been underwhelming the last couple of weeks. He's slowing down and getting some injuries. So
I'm going with Nick because it benefits me more for Nick to not sell um,
true.
and keep competitive for the matchups that he has coming up. So let's go, Nick. Tage against the Machine, 7-7-2 and 9, taking on Patches O'Hooligan, 9, 7, and 0 in 6. Who do you have here?
I think Patch is the changes he's made here, getting rid of a couple of goalies and replacing them with Meyer and Ovi. Um, I think he's headed in the right direction again. And fortunately for Mark, he's going to suffer.
I am also picking Patches because in this case, it benefits me to have Mark just put out of the race altogether as much as possible. Um, but I'm not upset if Mark beats Patches and I have a chance at catching Patches. So
Yeah, that's true.
in this
Kind
case,
of
it's
a
just
win-win.
preferable to have one guy push down a little bit.
Yeah, it's just nice that they play each other.
Yeah. The farm team, 2, 9, and 5, taking on Who's Your Daddy? 2, 12, and 2, 15th and 16th. Battle for the cock. Who do you got?
The match of the week. I'm cheering for Casey. I'd like to see this get really interesting come down the wire.
It's bad news for Plums lately, but I'm gonna put my faith in him just because I don't know. I don't care about this matchup. I don't care who wins the Caucasaurus as long as it's not on my mantle. Team Rocket, 7, 9, and 0 and 12, taking on TVT's getting upset, 7, 5, and 4 in 8th. Who do you have?
I'm gonna give it to Travis. He wants to win, and I don't think Kyle is motivated to try to win. So
I I'm gonna go for Burge because it would benefit me for Travis to start losing some matchups.
it's
Um,
true.
and I feel that he sent Markstrom over there to sabotage Travis's potential here.
Yeah.
Well, we're 30 seconds away from the 1 minute mark, so we rushed through that, unfortunately, but it was worth it to get extra insight into other things going on in the league than just this week's matchups, which our predictions have been just wild anyway. So, any closing words, Corey?
No, it's been fun. I'll be down to this end of the stretch of the season here. It's wicked.
It's been a fun season. It's going to be a fun ending here with 8 teams fighting over 4 spots, essentially. I look forward to see how this ends. Thanks for watching, boys. Good luck, everyone, this week. Except you, Domo. Go fuck yourself.